Hey guys, Mark Zoll here, welcome to the channel. I just want to make a very quick video just explaining what happened when I went into hospital this week. So I had my retinal stent removed and I wanted to go through the procedure with you, tell you how I felt during the procedure, show you a few pictures and a few videos about what happens, just so you guys can have an understanding of what it's like to get your retinal stent removed. Let's get into it. So before we move on and talk about the procedure, and I'll show you a few pictures, I just wanted to explain to you what exactly is a ureteral stent. So a ureteral stent is a plastic tube that's inserted into your ureter, which is the tube that connects your bladder and your kidneys. And it's inserted there because after a transplant, they want to make sure that the flow of urine from the kidneys into the bladder is nice and clear. And they want to make sure that the connection between the new implanted ureter and your bladder is strong enough so that it doesn't break down over time. So they leave it in for 5 weeks just to make sure that the connection is nice and strong and that the flow of urine is fine, and then they remove it for you. So my ureteral stent was placed inside me when I was having my kidney transplant, so I have no recollection. I can't remember it going in at all because I was completely knocked out, but I do remember it coming out, and I'll go on to the procedure now and tell you how it felt. So let's start off by talking about the setup of the procedure. So for me, what happened was I was walked into a room, and there was just a bed and 3 doctors were in there, and there was lots of equipment set out on the table. So I took a quick picture of it for you. On the table you can see lots of cleaning swabs, lots of sterile wipes that they're going to use, some privacy gowns for you to put on as well, and then there's this really long tube, which is the thing that they end up inserting inside you, and it's got a little light on the end, it's got a camera on the end, and they use a screen that's set up next to you to see what they can see on the camera. So once everything's clean and ready to go, they lie you down flat on your back, they take a few deep breaths, and then they start explaining to you the procedure that they're going to be doing. So how exactly are they going to remove this ureteral stent from your ureter, you ask? Well, this is what happens next. So they have to grab some numbing gel first to insert some numbing gel up your urethra so that it doesn't hurt as much as it may do without the numbing gel. There's not much else they can give you to relieve the pain, so it's just a bit of numbing gel, unfortunately. And then they use this really long flexible plastic tube which has a light on the end and a camera, and that's what they have to insert into your urethra all the way through into your bladder, and then they have to find the ureteral stent there because that's where it's sitting. It's sitting in your bladder and it's connecting your bladder to your new kidney. So on the end of this flexible tube with the camera and the light, there's a tiny little hook at the end. And when the doctor has weaved the camera through your urethra and into your bladder and has found the stent and where it's sitting, they press a little button and this hook comes out from the bottom of the camera, and then they use it to grab onto the stent, and then from there they just put it straight out through your urethra and then out into the open. So did it hurt? Yes, it did hurt. It hurt when the tube was initially going into my urethra. That hurt the most, and then it's just a really uncomfortable feeling the camera weaving through you, and there's a few crossroads that they had to weave their way through as well. So every now and then the nurse was telling me to hold my breath really tightly whilst they just fed it through the correct angle, and it was really uncomfortable all the way up until the camera made it into my bladder. So once the camera was in the bladder, it was completely fine. It felt a bit weird, a bit queasy, but I was in no pain after that. The numbing gel must have done something because I wasn't in excruciating pain. It was just really uncomfortable. And what makes it a little bit worse as well is they spray some water from the camera just to fill up your bladder a tiny bit, just so it's a bit more open and they can look around. And you have this sensation that you just need to pee. You just need to pee all the time whilst they have the camera inside you. But luckily, once the camera is inside your bladder, they do a bit of searching around and they find the end of the stent, and then they can start removing it from there. Right, let me just show you a quick video of what happened during my procedure. So I was able to record the screen that the doctors were using to look inside my bladder to find where the stent was. I'm always looking at screens when I'm having things done to me. I love looking at the screens, whether there's an ultrasound scan or biopsies or anything. It's always nice to see what they're looking at so you also understand a bit more. So I was looking at the screen and they were showing me where things were, and there was little things inside your bladder, and then there it was, my stent right there in front of me on the screen. It looks really big on the screen, and you'll see in a second it's not actually that big, but obviously it's magnified a few hundreds of times just so they can have a nice clear view of it. And then as you can see on the video, that little hook that comes out of the bottom of the camera, and then the nurse has to just slowly wiggle everything around in place. It looks actually quite difficult to find the actual stent with the hook because the hook is so small, but she took a bit of time, had a few attempts at it, and as you can see she just grabs the stent, and then after that I need to take one big deep breath in, and that's why I stopped recording, and then they just put it all the way out, and then it's finally gone. So here's a little video of the retinal stent itself. So it's not the biggest thing in the world, but it definitely hurt when it was coming out, and it hurt when they were putting the tubes in to bring it out as well. So I was glad that it was over. I've been told that, you know, by doctors and nurses that it does hurt more for men than it does for women. I'll guess I'll never know that. But there definitely was a bit more pain than I expected, and I was a lot more uncomfortable than I thought. But once it was out, it was a real sense of relief, and all that pain and all that uncomfortableness had gone straight away. And then that was it really. Once the stent was out, the doctors just want to make sure that you're passing urine correctly. So you have to pass, maybe pass urine 2 or 3 times before you go home. And you need to make sure that it's clear, it's not pink, because there may be some spots of blood in it. And the only real bad things to look out for after the procedure is any blood clots in your urine as well. So as soon as you've done a few samples of urine and nice and clear, you're allowed to go home, and you just have to monitor your urine when you get home. So that's how my ureteral stent was removed, guys. It definitely wasn't the most pleasant experience I've ever had in my life, and I definitely wouldn't want to do it again, but it had to come out and it had to go in the first place. So it's good that the 5 weeks have gone by pretty quickly. I didn't even notice that it was inside me at all. You don't even know. You can't feel anything inside you, and I don't feel any different now that it's out of me either. So I think more psychologically I feel better, because I know now that that was probably the last big thing that I need to do. So if you've seen my other videos, you've seen that I've had my staples removed now, so my scar is healing nicely. Now my ureteral stent is removed. The only thing I really need to do now is look after myself and just rest at home. So all done. Nice quick procedure. If you are going to have one yourself, or if you know someone and you're just trying to find out a bit more about it, it's not the longest procedure in the world, but it is uncomfortable. There is a tiny bit of pain attached to it, but it is all over a bit quicker than you expect it to be. So thanks a lot, guys, for watching the video. I hope it was nice and short. I'm not sure how short I've kept it, but we'll see after I've done some of the edit. If you liked it at any point, leave me a thumbs up. Write me a comment down below if you want to ask me anything about the procedure or anything else. And please subscribe to my channel. I've got loads more videos to come. I'm trying to do 2 videos a week for you guys, just explaining how I'm recovering from my kidney transplant, the things you need to look out for as well, and just any extra information that you may have not known if yourself or someone else is going through the same thing as well. So please check out my other videos, and I'll see you soon.